Hello everyone, Tyron here from Type Fitness Solutions. Now today I want to give you three scenarios which are in the comments, the topic board up above there. And basically we all know people like this. We all know people that first when their fat loss goals will come into play, is what they'll do is they'll start eating less. Okay, that's scenario one. Scenario two is the person that'll start eating less and doing a little bit of exercise. Okay. And there'll be person three who actually does it the right way and goes and gets a professional to help them actually how to lose fat effectively and long term. So we're going to run through the three scenarios for you. I've just got some notes beside me as well. So scenario one, let's talk about base metabolic rate first. Base metabolic rate means that basically that's the energy that you burn as soon as you wake up. Okay, that's the energy that you burn just needing to survive, to open your eyes, to keep organs running, keep your brain healthy, keep everything running. Okay, so everyone has a different base metabolic rate, but that's the amount of calories and energy you burn just to live every day. Okay, so all three people have a base metabolic rate of 2,000 calories. Just keep it simple. Okay, the first person is the person that just starts eating less to lose fat. Okay, they take their calorie intake down to 1,300, okay, which gives them a 700 calorie deficit. Okay, so 700 calories less on the day. Okay, the second person is the person that basically will start eating less, okay, but also actually put in some exercise. So they have 2,000 calorie base metabolic rate. They did an extra 200 calories of exercise through the day. And their dietary intake was 1,500 calories. Okay, so they took some out and they added a little in. Okay, but we still have a 700 calorie deficit. Okay, subject three or scenario three is the person that does it right. Okay, they're the ones that have a base metabolic rate of 2,000 calories. They add in additional 600 calories for time effective exercise. Okay, so I'm not talking cardio and minimal calorie burn. I'm talking about metabolic resistance training effectively to stimulate the correct hormones that burn fat. Okay, so to reduce or to make more insulin sensitive environment and produce growth hormone, things like that. But their intake is 1,900 calories. So this is where I sort of work with people. We work out what a rough metabolic rate would be relative to what they have been eating and what they've been doing in the past in the extensive interview process. But for this case, they're eating 1,900 calories and their total calories burned is 2,600. So they're also in a 700 calorie deficit. Okay, so number three is the one that's going to win long term. Okay, one, they're eating more food. Okay, two, they're not actually changing their metabolic rate because their metabolic rate was 2,000 calories already. We're already giving them 1,900 calories. So they're only a 100 calorie deficit by a nutrition standpoint, but we're adding in 600 calories of metabolic resistance style training. Okay, so they're creating a 700 calorie deficit. So they're not changing them, they're not messing up their metabolic rate. Okay, they're not screwing with their metabolism. Okay, so here's how it works basically. Okay, so fat loss is largely hormonal. Yes, we need to have a deficit, but what sort of deficit do we need to create that fat loss? Simply by reducing calories, okay, was going to create a negative hormonal environment in the body, and it's going to resist fat loss, okay, because basically what happens is your body will go into sort of like a starvation mechanism because over time your base metabolic rate shifts with your energy intake. If you're not giving your body energy, it can't make energy, okay? It needs energy to make hormones, okay? Hormones is what helps us burn fat. So this is where people in the long term have a rebound effect because they just start eating less, but then all of a sudden the metabolic demand of their body requires energy. So they need to eat again. They start eating more food and then they start blowing out, okay? So when you decrease calorie intake, the body's anti-starvation mechanisms are alerted and it creates a hormonal environment conducive to fat storage, okay? So it improves fat storage. So eating less actually doesn't give you long-term fat loss, okay? You get a minimal result very, very shortly, but after time it stops working for you. The only way you can do it is if you actually start putting in more exercise, okay, which is bad. But you actually start detrimentally damaging the body's metabolism by doing that because you're not giving it energy, but you're using more energy, if that makes sense. So if you decide to create a calorie deficit to burn fat, you don't want to drastically reduce calories for the reasons mentioned of what I was just talking about above. Okay, so scenario three is the person that did it right. We only took 100 calories away from their energy intake, but all we did was increase the metabolic style of training that they were doing. Okay, so we didn't really mess around with too much calorie intake. Okay, this is called the G flux or energy flux. So it's basically related to eat more, exercise more, and lose more. And this is where so many people have it twisted, and it will have you so much related to what you need to do with fat loss is eat less and do more. Well, no, you have to be smart with what you're actually doing for exercise, and you have to be smart with what you're doing with your energy intake. For long term, your energy deficit will not work. Okay, now the biggest thing that runs in this is isogenics. It runs in that same sort of calorie deficit. But how many people after the program consists actually keep their fat off without relying on the supplement packs to keep them motivated, okay, or keep them actually staying lean? Their body hasn't been adapted to actually burn more fat. So simply put, the more calories you burn through exercise, okay, versus a dietary calorie deficit, the greater your fat loss will be, okay? Every single time, no matter what. So if you increase metabolic resistance training and keep your calories the same, you will actually start, if you're below your metabolic rate and you're creating a higher metabolic adaptation through exercise and training, you will lose fat. That's science. Fat burning enzymes will be elevated and the body will remain happy from a nutritional standpoint, which means that you won't create too much of a deficit in energy production, which means that you'll be able to create more energy and you won't shut down hormone production. So eating an additional 600 calories per day from person A to person C is a lot more viable from a physiological standpoint than trying to create a large calorie deficit through diet alone. Okay, so this is where you can't be lazy if you want to get lean. Okay, you have to exercise more, but also eat more. It's not about exercising more and eating less. Okay, it's creating that metabolic adaptation. Okay, so what I sort of advise to you is basically get appropriate information specific to you. Stop following mainstream says that eat less and exercise more. Stop just basically doing cardio and stop being lazy with your exercise, okay? You need to train hard. The body survives on actually moving, okay? There's no easy option. You just have to be smart with it, okay? So basically the point is here, if you find out what your base metabolic rate is, okay, work out how many calories or energy deficit you can create from your exercise. Make sure that you're eating healthy food, minimize your deficit by metabolic rate minimally, and add in the extra with some metabolic resistance training, okay? And then see how your results actually improve. This is how long-term effective fat loss is done so that you don't actually shoot yourself in the foot long-term and then all of a sudden you start putting on weight because your body craves energy. So how do you get energy to the body? You have to eat food. You have to eat nutritious food. But if you already trained your body to only use 1,300 calories worth of energy, and then your body actually needs 2,000 to survive with the calories of energy, your body doesn't know how to utilize that extra 700 calories, so it converts to fat straight away. Okay? So eat more, exercise more, lose more, do it the smart way, please. Stop looking for a quick fix, and feel free to ask any questions, but do it right, and you'll do it right the first time. Okay, buy cheap, you buy twice. Do things right the first time. You never have to repeat them and waste your time, okay? I'm Tyrone Jensen. Happy days, happy training, and I hope this helps.